This particular screen is an Android based on Android 4.4. They have newer ones based on Android 7.1. The benefit of these, the older Android, you can root it and you can do certain things with the root that you won't be able to with the newer 7.1 version. 7.1 version has twice as much RAM, so there's some benefit to it, but Android is also resource hungry, the 7.1 version versus 4.4, so it's kind of a trade-off basically. And you can use iDrive to navigate through this menu. You can open apps. Basically, you can kind of scroll through these apps. Once you're inside the app, you won't be able to use it in iDrive. There is a online I just saw about a week ago. Somebody posted a little controller that will have a touch screen. So it's the bigger kind of a mount here that will be possible to use it. But the price on AliExpress is $150. I think it's way too much for what it offers. But anyway, there's options. You can always use an external keyboard, ear mouse, or whatever else. Now for navigation, you can use just about any navigation you want to install for Android based. So let me switch to another menu and see how you can accomplish that. Factory setup. The code is 1314. And once you're there, you basically get inside of a additional menu where you can you see it? Okay. Where you can basically show options. So I use built-in Bluetooth in the car for phone conversation, and for music I have external Bluetooth adapters, so that's not really something that I'm using. But if you want to do that, you will pick this ARM Bluetooth and it will switch. It will route audio and phone calls through the system. You can, if you're using Android, still forced to use a stock built-in microphones and a stock phone conversation-based, hands-free profile Bluetooth if you wanted it to. So there's different interfaces you can choose from. This is BMW NBT. There is an EVO version. EVO New is almost the same, it's just slightly better polished. I think it's larger icons and just better done interface. This is ID6. It was the latest until recently. They just released the ID7 version of Android. So if you select this, you need to reset the car. It will boot up with a new menu. So I have to wait a few seconds for it to fall asleep and then restart it. So this is how the original navigation looks like. I also imported red light cameras and police traps, so that's why you see those police cars, but it looks really old and dated. If I switch, there's a possibility to put the custom animation when it boots up. I haven't tried yet, but I think I know how it can be accomplished. It takes about 30 seconds to boot up. The 7.1 version of Android takes longer, even though it has more RAM, but the processor is really not much faster. So this is what it looks like if you pick ID6, so it looks more modern. But I don't like it because there's way too many screens to navigate through. So for instance, if I want to listen to music or navigation, that's great, it's on one screen. But you want to access anything else, you have to keep scrolling. That's where apps, for instance, that just takes way too much time. For music app, it's got a built-in music app. You will be able to use iDrive menu. That's the only music app you can use iDrive menu and still navigate through. So you can pick music or whatever. For navigation, right now I have, I like Sigic, but it does not give you traffic updates. You have to subscribe. I think it costs like $19 for a lifetime subscription. Maybe worth doing it. So I'm using this free navigation. The nice thing about this particular one, it allows you to run it in the full screen mode. So you can zoom in, zoom out, you can switch to another view, and it has offline mode of operation. Basically what it does is you just download the maps, and you don't have to have internet active. You don't have to use tethering or anything else on your phone. So, well, that's one of them. I do like Sigic a lot more. I think it's more smooth. So this option here, you can see recently launched apps. You can kind of kill them through here. Now, if I want to launch another navigation, I can select which one I want to launch. It has options. You can customize it. Real quickly, there is a dashboard that kind of shows you. Car is not running right now, but it will show you RPM, your speed, and temperature, that kind of stuff. Okay, let's go to apps, and I'll show you Sigic app. So this one is really smooth. I like it because it looks a lot better than anything else I've tried. When you zoom in, it just looks like a video being played instead of those choppy, 3 frames per second updates. So, and you can display all sorts of information there. It also has night view, obviously, and a bunch of other stuff. Can show you your speed limit. If you're exceeding speed limit, it will play sounds, and you can customize it and do all sorts of things. It has 3D view if you like zoom in and downtown area. You can see buildings. If you're in Europe, probably most buildings will be in 3D. So that kind of stuff. So. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna switch to probably another music app just to show you. My unit here is rooted. This is my wife's car, so the root allows you to do certain cool things like enabling Tasker and doing more features. Tasker, it's the full automation. You can basically do things on your phone as well as on the screen. So when you sit on the screen and one screen connects to a Bluetooth, the phone connects to Bluetooth, you can launch Wi-Fi, and I can also send audio instead of using this crappy audio that comes with this Android. I can run it through a Wi-Fi using the app called Allstream. It's this app. Or you can also use AI sound, I think, AI audio, I think, something like that. This one sounds a little louder. None of them support bit perfect data, unfortunately. I also installed this custom app like this where I can change the screen parameters, like I can calibrate it to get a better white balance because my screen was pretty bad. Unfortunately on the camera you have to fix, I don't know if your phone allows you to manually set the white balance, but so you won't be able to tell much difference. But the idea is you can customize these RGB parameters because mine had way too much blue and red. It will give me a headache. Now I did not use colorimeter this time when I did it. I just did it by using my eyes essentially, but you should be able maybe see a little difference on your phone or not. I'm not sure because the phone will do the out of balance. So you can do Waze app, or there's all sorts of navigation options. Google Maps. Where is Waze? It's interesting. It's got a built-in microphone, but it only seems to work for me with Waze app. It doesn't work with others, or sometimes it's crashing the app, so you have to kind of try it. So you can do this. Go to Portland.
Okay, navigating to Portland, Oregon.
So you don't have to manually type anything.
You're
it's
all
basically
set. Drive safely. Turn right, then turn left on Northeast 56th Avenue. Make a U-turn, then turn right on Northeast 64th Street.
it's basically an Android tablet that allows you to do all sorts of things. Now my next step is to install Exposed on it, so then I can run any app in the full screen. So far I haven't been successful, but I don't give up. I'm continuing on exploring what can be done. a different interface. ID5, that's probably by far my favorite. System info. Depending which menu you have slightly different interface options. So go back here, and we're gonna pick this time Evo New. I'm gonna reboot it. Okay, so this is the menu I use the most. Because it only has two screens basically that you have to choose from. The first one we were shown to you guys was the NBT version. That's just one simple screen. This one has two. You can also choose which one is the default, the one that has music through browser options versus this screen. So if you use something else more often, you can do it. Also, there is an easy way where you can modify the factory XML file. You can reassign this particular icon to whatever choice of the app. And I haven't done it, but it's a pretty simple task. I'll probably either assign a different navigation to this icon, or most likely SoundCloud or Spotify for my wife, because she's using those apps quite a bit. You can play videos. I do have advanced version of YouTube, so it allows us to watch videos without any ads. It also has a nice black interface. You do probably see a bunch of little things popping up. I have a lot of programs that launching at startup, like the one that was just running, allows me to use T-Mobile tethering without throttling me. So I can do a lot of things. And this app allows me to pick custom resolution. So the stock YouTube app will only give you option to play 480p because screen is 1280 by 480. But this one I can choose 1080. I mean, I can go higher, but this processor not going to be able to handle it smoothly, and I don't see much point in it. I can also zoom in to fill the entire screen. It basically cuts out, the top and bottom and fills up the screen without stretching it. Very convenient. You can go and go through the list of other things. It also there's no commercials. I mean, it kills all the ads. It also plays in the background, so you can launch music on YouTube app and listen to music in the background while you have navigation in the foreground. So, there's a lot of things you can do. Pretty cool, I will say. If you are using the AirPlay or DLNA streamer with Allstream, there will be some serious lip syncing problems. So I don't recommend going that path if you're planning on watching a lot of videos. YouTube app does not allow you to delay audio. So what you need to at that point is to run it through some cable. I modify my unit. I actually replace a bunch of caps and resistors to make it sound better. It has a pretty bad, I'm not sure who worked on it, what sort of electrical engineer, and the reason why they picked the choice for the capacitors and resistors. It doesn't seem to be right. So I improved the sound quite a bit, but if you're an audiophile, it's not gonna be good for you, I can tell you up front. It's just a nice add-on because it allows you to keep all the stock functionality. You can easily switch between the original setup versus, something else. I don't have a satellite subscription right now, but you basically can listen to radio and all sorts of other things. If you want to switch back, you press and hold menu. It will take you back. A lot of people report that they have issues with the GPS antenna that comes with this particular screen. There may be different versions. I haven't had any issues with mine. I put it basically inside right above the glove box, basically in that area, and it works really good for me. I'm inside garage right now, and I can launch and show you. It's basically pulling up some satellites, and this is sitting inside garage, so, and it's, you know, it's blocked quite a bit here. It's still really strong, and I never lose the signal on GPS. Others, they buy splitters and they split the stock unit. That's not really good for signal quality. I have quite a bit of RF background, but it can work for some people. Or people also buy adapters and use, basically disconnect the stock navigation system and use it instead, the stock antenna that's it on the roof. So there are some options and certain choices. Like I said, I don't have any issues with this particular antenna. I'm quite happy. And my wife likes to see the traffic, so she's switching a lot to the stock system because on these older vehicles it did not require subscription, so it's all free. You can see if there is a traffic or not. But now I'm really kind of trying to convince her to use simply just this particular navigation system, and her phone is automated to start sharing internet as soon as she basically starts up the car and it connects to Bluetooth. And you can also switch between stock system versus that. Yeah, so if you want to go back to the factory settings, you can either do that from your iDrive by pressing and holding the menu button. It will switch, and if you do it again, it will switch back to Android. Or you can do this car info. It switches you back here. Obviously here, it's not gonna, you won't be able to navigate the stock system with a touch screen. But as soon as you touch it, the screen when you're on iDrive, classic menu, you're basically gonna go back to Android. So people with M5, all sorts of other cars that always concern if they update to NBT, they'll lose some functionality and some settings. There's no such issue here. It's basically an Android tablet that is sharing the, it's basically connected through the aux input, and you have a independent menu. Now, another cool thing about it, you can buy very inexpensive backup camera, which I did. And if I switch back, you can see I have that option. So you have Parktronics shown on the side. You can also enable them here if you want. I don't like that because it kind of blocks the view. And when you turn the steering wheel, it will turn. I don't want to start the car, but so that's a nice feature. Also, if you want to adjust the brightness of this screen, it also adjusts the classic menu because brightness settings for Android are independent. So if you go here, it's the brightness and contrast. You adjust it from this screen. So if you want to adjust the brightness here, you have to enable basically this mode. Even if you don't have a camera enabled, you go here and you can basically change the settings. You have to use iDrive for that because the touch screen doesn't work. So yeah, so that's it. But yeah, I think if you compare, I don't know, I mean, I can launch probably Citric is my favorite so far, except that I haven't purchased their lifetime traffic updates. Yeah, I don't think it has time set up properly. It thinks it's night, so it's switching to the night mode. But if you compare this graphics and how smooth it is when you move around versus stock navigation, yeah, there's really not much to compare. This looks pretty old. Even though other cars, like from different manufacturers, look way older than this, this still looks really bad. I have a CIC navigation in my car, and it looks way better. So the reason I bought it, it's basically because it was, I want to puke basically when I saw this menu. Not that it's that horrible, but this is, you know, completely different.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, really, very interesting. Yeah.